Healthy and holiday don't typically find themselves in the same sentence, especially when it comes to food, but it doesn't have to be that way. With a little planning and a few simple changes, it is possible to enjoy great tasting holiday foods and still maintain a healthy lifestyle. Hi, this is Barbara Ames, Family and Consumer Sciences Agent with K-State Research and Extension's Wildcat Extension District. And today I'd like to discuss with you what it means to focus on the star foods when we're doing our holiday cooking. The presentation today is going to be based on a K-State Research and Extension Family and Consumer Sciences lesson entitled Focus on the Stars, Cooking Healthy for the Holidays. If you would like to download a copy of the fact sheet that accompanies this lesson, it is available for free download on our K-State Research and Extension online bookstore. You can see a link to the publication there at the bottom of the screen. We'll also be discussing some recipes during this presentation today, and you can find the recipe sheet that goes along with those recipes or has those recipes contained in it on page 2 of the fact sheet that you see here on the screen. So, what do you look forward to most about the holiday celebrations that are upcoming? Are special holiday foods on that list by any chance? The holiday season does bring many special celebrations with fun, family, and food galore. Many families have traditions centered on fabulous foods and drinks that they usually enjoy only 1 or 2 times a year. Celebrations and traditions are an important part of life, and we should enjoy them. But here's something else to consider. Americans typically gain 1 to 3 pounds or even more between Thanksgiving and the New Year. At face value, perhaps that's no big deal. But the problem is that most of us don't lose that excess weight, and after several years, it can really add up. So how do we balance enjoyment of the holiday season with healthful eating? That is the topic of today's discussion. We have 3 basic objectives today as we discuss the topic of eating healthy and the holidays. They include helping us to better understand the effect of adding fat and sugar to our foods, to gain healthful ideas for modifying some traditional holiday favorite foods, and also to get us motivated to modify some of our personal holiday favorite foods. Cooking healthy doesn't have to mean taking out all the good stuff and suffering with food that has no flavor. Nor does it mean that we can't enjoy any of our favorite holiday foods. It does mean that we may need to reconsider the way we think about our favorite holiday foods. For instance, consider this. Most of our holiday dishes, yes, those candied sweet potatoes, green bean casseroles, and pumpkin pies, begin with a very healthy main ingredient. It's the added fats and sugars that cause the recipe to become less healthy. So what if we try concentrating on the star ingredient? Seasonal fruits and vegetables should be the centerpiece of our meals. Sweet potatoes, pumpkins, apples, pears, cranberries, and citrus. All of these ingredients have really great flavors on our own. So do they really need a lot of sugar or fat added to them to make them taste better? Here's an example to think about. This chart shows an example of what happens when we add sugar to a star ingredient, namely the apple. Many brands of regular sweetened applesauce have an extra 80 calories in every cup compared to the unsweetened version. And they're usually hidden on the bottom shelf of the grocery store, by the way. Do apples really need that added sugar to make them taste great? Another thing to think about is a 160-pound person would need to walk a mile to burn off those extra 80 calories in a serving of sweetened applesauce. With this thought in mind, let's discuss some ideas for adding a healthy twist to some of our favorite holiday foods. Let's start out with sweet potatoes. Instead of candied sweet potatoes, we could try roasting plain sweet potatoes in the oven or put them in the microwave or slow cooker, top with low-calorie spray butter and honey or a non-caloric sweetener, or we could use some spicy flavors to complement the sweetness of sweet potatoes. Try low-fat pepper jack cheese or cayenne pepper, or just mash them and add some herbs such as thyme. Or we could try making sweet potato coins. Bake the sweet potatoes whole, and once they're firm yet tender, remove the skin if you want to, and slice them. Spray or toss the slices with olive oil and fresh herbs and onions. Place them on a cookie sheet and return them to the oven until they're done. Or you could try replacing some or all of the sugar in a sweet potato casserole with something like 100% orange juice, or sweeten with pineapple and include just a little bit of brown sugar and butter in the recipe. Also, a healthier substitution for brown sugar in candied sweet potatoes could be the Splenda brown sugar blend. However, the Splenda brown sugar blend is a little bit sweeter, or perhaps considerably sweeter than the regular brown sugar, so use only half as much. To help us get a mental picture of the difference just small changes can make, we're going to be using some comparison charts. And this one, of course, is for sweet potatoes because that's what we're discussing right now. And as mentioned, a link to the recipe sheet where the recipes that I'm going to be mentioning in this comparison chart can be found. As I mentioned, page 2 of the fact sheet that we referenced earlier contains a link to where you can find the recipe sheet. Okay, let's look at sweet potatoes. The traditional recipe is made with brown sugar, marshmallows, and 6 tablespoons of butter. The recipe sheet does contain a recipe for sweetened, contains a recipe sweetened with pineapple that you just might want to try. You can see that it saves 160 calories, 6 grams of fat, and 23 grams of carbs per serving. The citrus sweet potatoes here are also included on the recipe sheet. It uses 1/3 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of orange juice concentrate to sweeten. And you can see that it saves 200 calories, 8 grams of fat, and 27 grams of carbohydrate. Next, let's look at green bean casseroles. They're one of my favorite things, but there are some things that I typically do when I'm making it that can make a big difference. For one thing, you can use canned green beans with no added salt or frozen green beans to reduce the sodium content. Or you could use reduced fat cream of mushroom soup mixed with some non-fat milk to reduce some of the fat. For the onions on top, you could saute your own onions in a non-stick skillet with cooking spray and put them on instead of the French fried onions. That would save some fat. Or you could just simply reduce some of the French fried onions that you put on. The recipe for green bean saute that's in our recipe sheet is also a good choice. So let's take a look at the green bean casserole comparison chart. The traditional casserole is made with, regular cream of mushroom soup and 1 1/3 cups of French fried onions. The healthier recipe makes just some simple modifications to the traditional recipe by using reduced fat cream of mushroom soup, fat-free sour cream, or fat-free milk, and 1/2 cup French fried onions. Also, for a tasty alternative to the casserole, you could try the green bean saute that's in the recipe sheet. It uses onions, mushrooms, and minced garlic for flavor. Be patient though, and let those onions begin to caramelize before adding the green beans, and it will taste extremely yummy. Excuse me. For some ideas for mashed potatoes, which can be another caloric pitfall, try seasoning them with pepper and herbs, and instead of butter or sour cream, use low-fat butter or fat-free half and half or reduced fat sour cream. Season them with onion powder instead of salt, and that gives the mashed potatoes a great flavor without added sodium. Also consider keeping the skins on the mashed potatoes for added fiber. Using non-fat plain yogurt in your mashed potatoes in place of butter or cream will increase the calcium content while reducing fat. Yogurt contributes a richer, creamier flavor and a nice mouthfeel. In our mashed potato comparison chart, the traditional mashed potatoes are made with half and half cream and butter. With a few simple modifications, the light and creamy version reduces the calories to 80 calories for savings of 50 calories, along with saving 2 grams of fat and 8 grams of carbs. This recipe uses fat-free cream cheese, reduced fat sour cream, fat-free milk, garlic powder, black pepper, and chives. And this is actually one of my favorite mashed potato recipes. There's a lot of flavor there. And if using the recipe for yogurt works for your family, you can save 60 calories, 3 grams of fat, and 7 grams of carbs per serving, and you get some extra added calcium for an added benefit. Now make note that saving 50 to 60 calories per serving may not sound like a really big deal. However, making simple modifications to several dishes can add up significantly. A modification of 50 calories per serving made to 3 dishes in the meal can save 150 calories. And we know that just 100 unburned calories per day can add up to a weight gain of 10 pounds per year. So saving 150 calories per meal really can make a difference over time. For pumpkin pie, let's take a look at some things we can do here. One thing would be to use fat-free evaporated milk in your pumpkin pie filling to reduce fat. Or pumpkin pie is even healthier if one avoids eating the end piece of the crust. Now, some may consider this to be the best part, but it has a lot of calories. Removing the crust from any type of pie is a quick and easy way to remove fat and calories. The regular crust of a one crust pie is about 140 calories per serving. That's just for the crust. So try baking pumpkin pie in a pie plate without the crust. Turns out great and with fewer calories. And you can check out our recipe sheet for a great recipe. If having a pie crust is important to you or your family, instead of a flour and oil crust, try tasty crust alternatives such as using ginger snaps to make a crust, as featured in the light pumpkin pie recipe in our recipe sheet. Okay, here's our pumpkin pie comparison. Get a load of the differences here. Traditional pie here is made with regular evaporated milk in the pie filling and a flour and shortening crust. Using ginger snaps in place of traditional pie crust reduces calories from 300 to 220 calories per slice. Another thought would be that you could cut this pie into 10 pieces instead of 8, and that would decrease the calories to 176 calories per slice. Or you can try the crust-free version for even more savings. You can dress it up with light whipped cream for about 15 calories per 2 tablespoons, and that can be a yummy addition and make a great dessert. So let's think here about apple pie, or maybe we should say apple desserts. Apple crisp can be a healthy alternative to traditional apple pie. The recipe included in our recipe sheet is a crustless variation loaded with tart apples, raisins, and 100% apple juice. The topping is made with whole wheat flour, old-fashioned rolled oats, cinnamon, and nutmeg, and only 1/4 cup of brown sugar and just a little bit of butter. And it tastes amazing. It's one of my favorites. Or you can actually try baked apples in a slow cooker with adding in those seasonings such as your cinnamon and your nutmeg and so forth. So take a look at our apple dessert comparison. The traditional apple pie that's mentioned here is made with flour and shortening crust and 3/4 cup sugar in the pie filling. As mentioned, the regular crust on a one crust pie is about 140 calories per serving. And that would be even more for a two crust pie, which traditionally is what you have with an apple pie. So the saving, it's kind of a no-brainer here. Both of our alternative recipes eliminate the pie crust. However, the apple crisp is so tasty, you may not miss the crust too much. That savings of 180 calories per serving might easily make the loss of crust worthwhile. We've also included a recipe for baked apples that saves a whopping 270 calories per serving and is also a very tasty alternative. Holiday celebrations and traditions, as I've already mentioned, are an important part of life. They are to be enjoyed, including our favorite holiday foods. And we don't have to stress over the extra calories because, as we've seen, tasty, healthier foods are possible. Now, I do want to note here that some of the modified recipes that we have in our recipe sheet may still have more calories, fat, carbohydrates, or sodium than the average person should eat for their everyday meals. However, these recipes do save calories compared to the traditional holiday recipes, and they are healthier alternatives. The point is, saving a few calories here and there, along with maybe being a little more physically active for good measure, can add up to little or no holiday weight gain and a more healthful lifestyle for you. We hope this lesson has stimulated your thinking about simple changes that might fit into your lifestyle so you can celebrate your health while you celebrate the holidays. Again, we hope the information shared today has been helpful. And remember that you can access more information about healthy cooking or other important topics by contacting K-State Research and Extension Wildcat Extension District at the locations shown on the screen. In addition, we would appreciate your comments about the information we've covered today in this presentation. The QR code on the screen that you see here will take you to a web location where you can share your feedback about this lesson. Just hold your smartphone camera over the QR code and click the link that comes up to get to this screen. Or you can find the location and offer your feedback by accessing the web address given above the QR code. We would love to hear your comments, and we would encourage you to share them in one of these ways. Thank you for watching, and we do hope that you will join us for a program again soon.